My beloved child, there is something your special person has been trying desperately to hide from you. Not because they want to deceive you. Not because their feelings for you are false or pretend. They are quiet because fear has wrapped itself so tightly around their heart that speaking the truth feels more dangerous than staying silent. They are carrying news that changed the way they see themselves, and now they wake up every single day terrified that it will also change the way you see them. They are walking beside you while hiding something heavy, and that weight is beginning to show, even though they are working so hard to keep it invisible. When they first received the result, their world became very quiet. Not the kind of quiet that feels peaceful or restful. The kind of quiet that feels like the ground has disappeared beneath your feet. For a long moment, they could not hear anything clearly, except the questions racing through their own mind. They wondered what would happen to their body. They wondered what their future would look like now. They wondered who in their life would stay, and who would quietly disappear once they found out. But before any other thought could fully form, their mind went directly to you. Even in that first moment of shock and confusion, you were already the person they were most afraid of losing. Their very first fear was not the condition itself. Their first fear was losing your love. They sat with that result, and immediately began imagining what telling you would look like. They pictured your face changing. They imagined your eyes shifting from warmth to something colder, something more cautious. They imagined you stepping back from them physically, pulling your hands away, rethinking everything you had shared together. They pictured you asking questions that felt more like accusations. They imagined you looking at them, the way a stranger might look at something they do not understand, and do not want to come closer to. Those images felt so real and so painful that silence began to seem like the only safe option available. If they never said the words out loud, then at least for a little while longer, everything could remain as it was. But staying silent has not brought them peace. Every time you speak to them with kindness, something inside them tightens. Every time you laugh together, or make a small plan for the future, a quiet guilt rises in their chest, because they know they are holding something back that you deserve to know. Every time you tell them that you love them, a voice somewhere deep inside asks, "Will you still feel that way once you know everything?" They are grateful for every tender moment you share, and they are also quietly grieving those same moments, because they do not know how many more there will be. They have cried about this in private. In the bathroom. In their car. In the middle of the night when they cannot sleep, and the thoughts will not leave them alone. They have looked at themselves, and felt as though one result, one number, one piece of medical information, had rewritten who they are entirely. Shame has been very busy working against them. Shame has been whispering that they are now damaged in a way that cannot be repaired. That they are a burden. That they are dangerous to the people they love. That they are somehow less worthy of a good life or a loving relationship than they were before the diagnosis arrived. These thoughts are not true, but when fear and shame work together inside a frightened heart, the truth can become very difficult to hear. You need to understand something clearly. A diagnosis does not erase a person. It does not wipe away their kindness, their humor, their loyalty, their warmth, or their capacity to love. The person you have come to know, the one who remembers small details that matter to you, the one who shows up when things are hard, the one who has made you laugh in ways that surprised you, that person still exists. Completely. A medical result changed their health picture, it did not change their soul. It did not cancel everything good that they are, or everything meaningful that you have shared together. They did not choose this condition. That matters more than people often remember to say out loud. They did not sit down one day and decide to face something frightening. They did not bring this upon themselves through carelessness or dishonesty toward you. Life sometimes brings things to people that they never asked for and never expected, and when that happens, the person who receives the news is often left feeling alone, even when they are surrounded by people who care about them. Because how do you begin a conversation that you are terrified will end everything? You may have already noticed that something is different. Perhaps they have become quieter than usual, without giving you a clear reason. Perhaps the energy between you has shifted in a way that is hard to name, but impossible to ignore. Maybe their messages have changed in tone or frequency. Maybe their affection feels a little more restrained, a little more careful, like they are measuring the space between you more precisely than they used to. Maybe they start serious conversations, and then suddenly pull back, changing the subject before anything real gets said. One day they are fully present with you, and the next day they seem to be somewhere far away, even when they are sitting right beside you. Please understand that this pulling away may not mean their love is getting smaller. It may actually mean the opposite. It may mean they love you so much that the thought of you rejecting them is more than they feel they can survive right now. They may be creating distance as a form of protection, not protection of you from them, but protection of themselves from the devastating moment. They keep imagining where you finally hear the truth and choose to walk away. They may believe that removing themselves slowly will hurt less than being left all at once. After everything is out in the open, they are trapped between two fears that feel equally terrible: the fear of telling you and losing you, and the fear of not telling you and losing you anyway, because the silence and the distance have become too much for the relationship to survive. They cannot find a comfortable place to stand. Every direction looks like it leads to losing something they do not know how to live without. Heaven is not asking you to pretend that this would be easy news to receive. You are a real person with real feelings, and this kind of revelation would be a lot to process. You are allowed to feel surprised. You are allowed to feel confused or even scared. You are allowed to need time before you know what you think or feel or want. Compassion does not mean having no emotional response of your own. Compassion means choosing not to let your initial reaction become something cruel. It means giving yourself a moment to breathe before you respond, because the words you speak in that first moment could either open a door or close one permanently. If they come to you with this truth, the most powerful thing you can do in that first moment is simply stay present. You do not need to have all the answers immediately. You do not need to make promises. You are not ready to make or pretend to feel things you have not yet had time to process. You just need to stay in the room. You just need to keep your voice steady and your face open. You just need to let them finish telling you before you begin forming a response. That alone, just being willing to listen, without immediately withdrawing, could mean more to them than you fully understand. Right now, their voice may shake when they tell you. They may find it very hard to look at you directly. They may apologize over and over again for something they did not deliberately choose to carry into their own life. They have likely rehearsed this conversation many times in their head. And in most of those rehearsals, you have not responded well. They have imagined the worst possible version of your reaction so many times that they may actually be preparing for rejection Before you have even said a single word, the fear in the room will be enormous, and your calmness in that moment could be one of the most loving things you have ever offered another human being. You can ask questions. You should ask questions. Not as a form of interrogation, but as a genuine effort to understand what they are facing and what it actually means for both of you. There is so much misinformation about so many conditions that people often react to what they think something means, rather than what it actually means. When accurate information is involved, encourage them to speak with qualified medical professionals, if they have not already done so. Encourage honest conversations with people trained to provide real guidance. Offer to learn alongside them if that feels right. And above all, remind them that revealing something frightening does not make them a bad person. It makes them a brave one. Love and wisdom are not opposites. You can care deeply for someone and still ask important questions. You can hold space for their fear and still protect your own health and emotional well-being. You can respond with kindness in the moment and still take time afterward to process your own feelings privately. Real compassion is not about erasing your own needs. It is about making sure that how you treat another person in a vulnerable moment reflects the kind of human being you want to be. Your special person also needs to hear something important, even if they are not reading these words directly. Genuine love cannot grow indefinitely in secrecy. The fear that has kept them quiet is understandable. The shame that convinced them silence was safer is understandable. But hiding important information from someone whose life may be affected by it is not something that can continue without consequences. You deserve honesty, not because you have demanded it, or because you are owed perfection from another person, but because you are a full human being who has the right to make informed choices about your own life. Compassion should never require you to give up your right to truth. If you are the one waiting for them to speak, you cannot force the conversation before they are ready, but you can create an environment where truth feels less dangerous. You can remind them through your everyday actions that you are someone who responds to difficulty with humanity rather than cruelty. You can be the kind of presence in their life that makes honesty feel possible, even when it is frightening. You cannot guarantee how you will feel once you know everything, and you should not make promises. You cannot keep just to make them feel safer before they speak, but you can be real and warm and steady enough that they begin to believe the conversation might be survivable. What you cannot do is carry their silence indefinitely, without it affecting you. The distance you are feeling is real. The shift in their energy is real. The unanswered questions sitting between you are real. You deserve clarity. And clarity can only come through honesty, even when honesty is the harder and more frightening path. There are people, trained and compassionate professionals, who exist specifically to help your special person understand their condition and navigate what comes next. There are doctors, counselors, support groups, and communities of people who have faced similar news and found ways to live fully and love well, and build meaningful lives on the other side of that frightening moment. There are treatments, there are resources. There is real information that is far more hopeful and far more nuanced than the shame-filled stories fear tends to tell in the middle of the night. But none of that help can reach them if they remain locked inside the silence that shame built around them. They have to take the first step toward honesty. They have to decide that their life is worth more than hiding. They have to begin to believe, even just a little, that they are still worthy of support and understanding and love. that belief may need to start very small. But it has to start. Your role in all of this is important, but it has limits, and those limits are healthy. You are not their doctor. You are not their therapist. You are not the only source of support they should ever need. You are not responsible for managing their emotions, making their medical decisions, or solving a problem that existed before you had all the information you needed to even understand it. You can love someone deeply, and still recognize that they need professional guidance that exists beyond what any romantic partner can reasonably provide. Encouraging them to seek that guidance is not abandonment. It is wisdom. It is actually one of the most loving things you can offer. You can love someone and still maintain boundaries that protect your own health. You can care about their well-being deeply and still insist on honesty that allows you to make safe and informed decisions. These two things are not in conflict. Anyone who suggests that loving someone means accepting whatever comes without asking questions or protecting yourself has misunderstood what love actually requires from both people in a relationship. My beloved child, please do not let fear write the ending of this story before the real conversation has even begun. Whatever the condition is, knowledge is more powerful than speculation. Honest medical information is more powerful than frightened assumptions. Compassion is stronger than shame. A real conversation, however difficult, is stronger than the silence that is currently growing between two people who may actually still want to find their way toward each other. Your special person believes that the truth will make you see them as broken. They have spent so much time inside that fear that it has started to feel like absolute certainty to them. They have forgotten that people are rarely what their hardest moments make them feel like they are. They have forgotten that the people who love us most are sometimes capable of surprises, of rising to meet us in vulnerable moments, in ways we never expected. They have forgotten that they themselves have probably once offered grace to someone they cared about in a moment of difficulty, and that the same grace might be available to them if they were brave enough to ask for it. But they need to remember something equally important. Your grace, if you choose to offer it, cannot replace the responsibility they have to seek proper care, to be honest with the people their health choices affect, and to stop carrying this alone in a way that isolates them some further. Love cannot do the work that honesty, treatment, and accountability must also do. The strongest and most sustainable version of your connection will have to make room for all of those things together. So prepare your own heart now, not by building walls or assuming the worst outcome, but by remembering who you are. You are someone capable of compassion without surrendering your wisdom. You are someone capable of listening without losing yourself. You are someone capable of seeing the human being in front of you clearly, seeing both their fear and their goodness, and responding from a place that you will be proud of later, regardless of what ultimately happens. If their truth reaches you soon, let your first response come from the calmest part of yourself. Breathe before you speak. Listen before you form conclusions. Ask real questions. Seek real information from real professionals. Give yourself permission to feel whatever you feel, without letting those feelings become weapons against a person who is already frightened of exactly that. They are not asking you to fix everything. They are not asking you to pretend nothing has changed or to smile through something that genuinely affects you. They are not asking for impossible promises or endless patience with no limits. What they are quietly praying for, in moments when they cannot find the words to ask directly, is simply this: that when the truth finally comes out, There will be one person who does not immediately look at them, like they are only the diagnosis. One person who sees the frightened human being behind all of it. One person who does not make them feel that one medical result has made them unworthy of kindness and understanding. That person could be you. It does not require you to stay forever regardless of circumstances. It does not require you to ignore your own needs, or pretend that everything is fine when it is not. It simply requires you to be honest, grounded, compassionate, and human, in the moment when another person is the most frightened they have ever been. Whatever happens next between you and your special person, let it happen in the light of truth, rather than the shadow of secrets. Let the decisions you both make come from real information, real conversations, real professional guidance, and real respect for each other's well-being. Those are the decisions you will both be able to live with afterward, whatever form the future takes. The battle they are fighting did not begin with you, and it does not have to end your story together. But it cannot stay hidden forever. The truth has a way of asking to be told, and the longer it waits, the heavier it becomes for everyone carrying it. Let honesty enter the room. Let wisdom guide the conversation. Let compassion shape your response. And let the outcome, whatever it turns out to be, come from the truest and most courageous versions of who you both are. They are not meant to face this alone. And you are not meant to be kept in the dark. Both of those things are true at the same time, and finding the place where they can both be honored honestly is the work that love sometimes quietly asks of us.